but they're starting to finally operate close to the capacity that they're rated to run at. They've had very few operating upsets since they started back up, and I still continue to have great faith that they have got the process lined out. They've got some of the new technology that they had better under control.
Is that expected when you deal with such a huge facility construction? Is there a ramp up and tweak?
Always.
Always?
My experience when I was plant manager at 3 different locations, you put any new equipment in, it takes a while for you to get the controls and the adjustment just right, so that you're producing product at the quality and the proficiency that you're looking for. There's always a new startup. Plus, you throw in all the new employees and all the training that has to go through on that. It takes a while.
But they keep us updated. I mean, we have meetings every couple of months. Anytime something happens, we get a phone call. So I'm pretty happy with how they're handling it with us.
I had just realized we had a technical issue. The live Facebook feed wasn't going. Now it is. So you can put your comments in the live or questions in the comments of the Facebook feed, and somebody's calling us. And
okay.
You should be able to hear it there on your headphones, guys. Hi, thank you for calling Teleforum. What is your question for the commissioners?
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning.
Where are we at on a detention center for the juvenile offenders that the local police pick up? I know that's been discussed a lot, and I've asked that question before, and I know you guys have been working hard on it, so I'll just hang up and let you answer the question.
There are not enough facility for juvenile offenders. People that you wouldn't think are getting kicked back on the street are getting kicked back on the street.
Yeah, we still have an issue. We still have constraints on that. We do have some regional facilities that are opening back up that we hope would relieve some of the constraints we have. There's the ones that are what they call in cause of justice, in case of justice, which are juveniles charged as adults. We have some new beds opening up in Lawrence County. We're trying to work out an agreement with that. We do have capacity at the jail for 2 of those. We've been working through issues to make sure that happens. Fortunately, that's an incurrent occurrence, yes. If you will, where a juvenile is charged as an adult, but you have to have special capabilities, specially trained corrections officers to be able to handle that. We're working through those. We just had a prison board meeting on that. We're talking about all the issues of that, and brought in Charles Rossi from Juvenile Services to talk about where we were and some of the financial issues as well as constraint issues on that. So bottom line is we still have not enough beds, but it's better than it was last summer.
I'm sure it'll be a topic. We're going to our conference March 3rd, and I sit on the Courts and Corrections Committee, so I'm sure it's going to be one of the points that we discuss. Hopefully trying to get the counties that surround us to come up with some program that we can all be part of. We initiated that how many years ago? A year and a half ago?
Yeah.
And where we wanted to try to get some consortium together to put the counties together to do it, we couldn't get a consensus on how it would work.
What was the problem? You're talking about getting, and we've talked about this. This isn't just a problem in Beaver County.
No, it's Pennsylvania. It's Pennsylvania.
Everywhere.
Well, there's 2 parts of the problem. One, there's a little bit of a reluctance for regionalization, just a little bit, only because of the technical, financial, and state and federal requirements around housing.
Is the argument that some counties don't think they can afford it? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I don't think that's the issue. But here's the thing. You go into something regionally, and on a practical scale, maybe it's a 12-bed facility.
Mm-hmm.
You're still going to have a problem with if those 12 beds are full at some point in time. You've bought into a consortium of stuff, but you don't have a bed, but you're paying for a facility to do that, right? There's a capacity of scale that you have to look at and figure out how to do that.
Clear as mud. No wonder you guys couldn't get everybody on board. You confused them.
The bigger issue is there are facilities out there that if they could operate at full capacity, it would negate the reason to build something new or do something different.
And they're not operating at full capacity because of staffing?
Staffing.
Okay.
And
requirements.
Regulations.
The requirements and the regulations, the oversight and that's necessary, and the training and the skills that are specialized to do that. There just aren't enough people. With the one in Mercer County is like at 40% capacity, only because they don't have the staffing to open up some of the beds that could be available. The Schumann Center, when it opens back up in Allegheny County, is supposed to be like 60 beds or something like that. It was closed down because of regulatory issues and because of staffing issues. The one in Westmoreland that closed down
Dear Lord.
that had issues was because of staffing. They ended up, somebody gets sick, you don't have enough staff there, you have incidents, and then the state's all over you about doing that. So it's a very complex issue, Eddie. It really is.
And then once you're set up, the regulations keep changing.
Oh, nice.
And then the costs keep going up.
Yeah.
And it becomes cost prohibitive at a certain point. So a lot of these counties do not want to jump into it.
The way you both explained it, I can understand why. If it's incredibly difficult and you manage to get everything right, and then who's changing the rules? I love that you both laughed at that question. Why are the rules changing? It's like building a house to code, and then the guy comes by and said, "Oh, none of that's the code. We changed it."
Happens all the time.
Legislation bills get through.
Okay.
Some lobby decides that
We don't like that.
we need to do things differently. So, and again, as always, Tony and I will tell you that they're the one that passed the laws. We have to deal with it. That's the way it always rolls downhill to the counties. So
It's Teleforum. It's Ask the Commissioners. Jack Manning and Tony Amadeo are my guests.
Just one more thing on that.
Yeah.
No,
I'm biting my tongue right now. Go ahead.
This is a serious issue.
Yes.
I mean, especially with certain populations we have in Beaver County, where the juvenile delinquency is creating great harm and angst with seniors and different communities, and it's disrupting the quality of life that they have. And it's something we need to take seriously. We haven't had any conversations with our new DA, but clearly our former DA was on top of this. And we need to look at this holistically. Beds is one thing, right? But we really need to jump back and look at the causes of this. How did we lose control over a generation of kids that are getting a kick out of stealing cars and doing joyrides and creating havoc in communities? And it's a serious issue. And there's a cost to that really goes unknown sometimes. And it's that cost of that quality of life, sense of security that some people have. And it's not something we take lightly. But I just want to make sure you know we're not just working on trying to find beds. We're trying to work on with different groups, different nonprofits, schools, youth ambassador program. We're looking at a lot of things to try and change the direction of some kids that need some direction.
I got plenty more questions from what you just said. After news, we will continue. Tony Amadeo and Jack Manning are my guests. It is Ask the Commissioners. It is Beaver County Radio.
The place for news, sports, and entertainment. You're listening to Beaver County Radio, 99.3 FM and 1230 WBVP, coming to you live from the all-new Fry Transportation Studios.
The new year brings new ways to save more money when you stop in or call the Beaver Valley Auto Mall. To celebrate 2024, the Beaver Valley Auto Mall is offering 3 oil changes and tire rotations up to 5 quarts for just $65 plus tax and disposal fees with approved credit. And all you have to do is apply for the all-new Jeep MasterCard. Purchases over $499 can be 0% for 6 months and 7% earning potential and qualified purchases. It's an incredible offer, and all you have to do is apply for your new Jeep MasterCard. It's the perfect way to start the new year. Stop by and apply for the all-new Jeep MasterCard today and get on the road to saving more money. The Beaver Valley Auto Mall way. It's true. Everyone's saving at the Beaver Valley Auto Mall Express Lane in Monaca. Happy New Year from everyone at the Beaver Valley Auto Mall near the mall in Center Township.
The Lenten season is just around the corner, and Our Lady of the Valley Parish is inviting you to one of the best Lenten fish fries in the valley at the St. Cecilia Hall on California Avenue in Rochester. The fish fries get underway on Friday, February the 16th, and will be every Friday throughout the Lenten season from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. They will have fish sandwiches, fried for $11 or baked for $12. Fish dinners are $13 and shrimp dinners are $14. There's also a Chesapeake Bay dinner for $15 that includes fish, shrimp, and crab cakes. Dinners also include coleslaw and a choice of french fries, mac and cheese, or pierogies. There's yummy pie for dessert, but that's a little bit extra. You can eat in, you can take out, or they'll deliver from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Credit cards are also accepted. Call 724-775-3775 or 724-709-7426.
Beaver County Radio's news source, 99.3 FM, along with 1230 WBVP, and streaming at beavercountyradio.com.
Good morning. On this Thursday, February 1st, 2024, Beaver County weather forecast is calling for windy and cloudy skies today with an afternoon drizzle possible and a high of 49 degrees. We'll go over the full details of your Beaver County weather forecast following this look at news. Beaver County Radio News correspondent Sandy Giordano is reporting that a landslide has closed Route 68 east and west in Industry this morning. The report came in just before 7:30 a.m. Due to the closure of traffic, signal lights will be installed to alert motorists. As of now, there is no time set for when the road will open back up to the traffic. Stay tuned to Beaver County Radio for further updates. Saturday will mark the one-year anniversary of the Norfolk Southern train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio, which has directly affected the residents of Columbiana and Beaver counties and sparked a national conversation on railroad safety. One of the major components of the national conversation has been the Railway Safety Act of 2023, which was introduced in Congress last March but has yet to become official law. Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg talked about the benefits passing the bill would create for his office and for East Palestine.
It would increase the authority of my department to assess tough penalties against railroads for safety violations. It would require better detectors. It would expand the list of hazardous materials that qualify for certain safety precautions and more. It should not be the case that 1 year after that derailment, we are still waiting for Congress to act.
Secretary Buttigieg reiterated to reporters yesterday that the issues are being moved forward as far as the Department of Transportation can possibly go. Though 2024 is only 1 month in, plans are already underway for America's celebration of its 250th anniversary in 2026. America 250 is a national group that is spearheading celebration plans, and Beaver County Parks and Recreation Director Tony Caltori, who is Beaver County's chairman for America 250, spoke about those plans at Wednesday's work session.
Our department is going to be releasing information this afternoon. We are going to be doing an internal Beaver County committee of 12 to 15 people across sectors so we can start planning for events in 2026. So follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and our website. And if there's any interested parties, reach out to us. So we're going to be putting that committee together here over the next month or two and have a spring meeting with the launch of it.
Caltori also told the Beaver County Commissioners that there are several projects for 2026 that can be funded through grant money provided by the state of Pennsylvania. He mentioned that the Little Beaver Historical Society is planning an expansion of Logstown and that the Beaver County Industrial Museum is also planning expansion. Congressman Chris DeLuzio released a statement on the House passage of the Tax Relief for American Families and Workers Act earlier this week. In his statement, he talked about his support to give a tax break to his constituents who received payments from Norfolk Southern after last year's devastating derailment in East Palestine. As Saturday marks the one-year anniversary of the derailment, DeLuzio says, quote, "I'm in this fight for as long as it takes to make rail safer and to make sure that folks like us who live near the tracks are not treated like collateral damage in the way of big railroads' profits," unquote. DeLuzio says his goal is to have a government that supports all the people and not just a specific group of people, and that while progress takes time, the vision is clear and attainable. A Connequenessing woman has been sentenced to 51 months in prison for filing false tax returns and wire fraud. 58-year-old Constance Stobert was sentenced on Tuesday in federal court following an investigation that showed that Stobert knowingly embezzled over $500,000 in false tax returns between 2016 and 2019. She also was found to have stolen over $1.6 million in assets from Mechanical Operations Company, where she had worked as a controller from 1994 until 2021. The money stolen from MOC was used to make personal credit card payments and to withdraw cash at casino ATMs in Las Vegas and Pittsburgh. The sentence was imposed by U.S. District Judge Arthur J. Schwab. Wall Street inched higher before the opening bell after the biggest single-day downturn since September, with the Federal Reserve indication that cuts to interest rates are not imminent. Futures for the S&P 500 gained 0.4% before the bell Thursday, while futures for the Dow ticked up just 0.1%. The Fed on Wednesday left its main interest rate steady and made clear it doesn't expect to cut rates until it has more confidence that inflation is locked in closer to its goal of 2%. Align Technology jumped more than 12% after the manufacturer of Invisalign teeth straighteners beat Wall Street sales and profit targets.
Here's the Beaver County forecast.
Windy and cloudy skies today with a possible afternoon drizzle and a high of 49 degrees. Cloudy with a chance of showers tonight and a low of 36. Possible snow tomorrow before 7 a.m., otherwise mostly cloudy skies with a high of 41. For Saturday, sunny skies with a high of 46, and sunny skies again on Sunday with a high of 50 degrees. That's your latest news updates for Beaver County Radio. I'm Matt Durzik for 99.3 FM, 1230 WBVP, and streaming online at beavercountyradio.com.
Talk about what's happening in Beaver County or around the world on Teleforum. 724-843-1888. 724-774-1888. It's Teleforum with Eddie Crow.
It is indeed that, but it's better than that. 24 minutes till 10 o'clock. Jack Manning and Tony Amadio are here. And we're taking questions, and I'm asking questions because the show's called Ask the Commissioners. I got plenty more, but if you've got yours, you can call or you can post it in the comment section on the Facebook feed that I finally remembered to press the button for. Hi, thank you for calling. What's your name and what's your question?
My name's Judy.
Hi, Judy. What's your question?
I think I have a very important question.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen, for taking my question. 71 years old. I was born and raised in Beaver County, and I've never seen so much. I'm very scared. I'm very afraid of what's going to happen. I watched 2 police officers in New York City get beat up by 8 or 9 illegals. And they're coming here. There was a border guard that asked one of the illegals, "Why are you here?" And the illegal said, "You will know soon enough." Now, do we have any kind of a plan if they come and start attacking our homes and our businesses? Do we have a plan what we're going to do here?
Judy, thank you for the question. I have a personal plan. Ain't got nothing to do with anybody's country of origin. If they come attacking my home, I'm going to shoot them. But that ain't got nothing to do with who's doing it. That's got to do with. Have either of you heard any that level of concern with illegal aliens, illegal immigration in Beaver County?
Not in Beaver County.
Okay.
But most of our issues are around not having enough workers, and we have trying to get the legal immigrants in with work visas to be able to work the farms, the landscaping, the different jobs that are out there that are going unfilled. I'm not aware of anything that's ever happened with any illegal immigrants or encampments or anything in Beaver County. I think it's more of an issue maybe for the city of Pittsburgh that could draw some of that to it. But I mean, our plans would be what anything that the state and the federal government would provide for those kinds of things. I did, by the way. I read an article I saw that was a horrific event in New York City.
New York City, and then the people got released.
Well, see, and there we go with laws and stuff. I mean,
I know.
The city of New York passed a thing where requiring a bond has been virtually down to zero. And by law, those judges have to release them based on the current laws that are there in New York City. So, I think it was 10 to 12 illegals from an encampment attacked those two police officers. They go to court. They're arraigned.
Yeah.
They are charged with a felony. But I mean, good luck getting those folks back in court when they're supposed to come back in court.
There are agencies and levels of government that would handle something of that nature.
Okay.
Not Beaver County government.
We got bigger problems than we can solve if it comes down to that.
Well,
Right.
we do have a relationship with immigration. Immigration every once in a while will transfer somebody to the Beaver County Jail for pickup for further dispensation someplace.
Deportation.
So they'll it may be deportation, maybe to some federal facility or something like that. But occasionally,
detention, ICE.
occasionally we'll have somebody from ICE. We'll have one or two inmates in there from that. So we do have a relationship.
Years ago, we
with
used to have
immigration.
many. But now we're lucky we have one or two.
What's the biggest problem in Beaver County? Because that doesn't sound like, that's certainly a problem. And if you're at home being afraid, I'd be really curious as to where Judy had heard all of that, because I've heard none of that.
I'm sure it's all over the news right now, that incident that happened in New York
But
City.
it's
And I
not
can
about
see-
in New York
No,
City,
right.
yes.
And that's the unfortunate part of some of those news broadcasts, trying to frighten people and stir things
The
up.
world has become very, very small today. Things that happen.
You mean intellectually?
No. The fact that we hear everything that happens everywhere.
Yeah, social media is just
It's just
exploded
incredible.
that stuff, and people think it's going to happen to them tomorrow. But
But we have ways to deal with things in Beaver County if that would occur.
And Dave, somebody,
What?
I just have so many questions as to how we got here in terms of the questions that you guys hear these questions way more than I do, don't you?
Yeah, well, but again, we can't solve societal issues. You asked what's the biggest challenges, I think,
Right.
facing Beaver County, and we do have some challenges. We've made a lot of progress on stuff, but I can't really name one. But affordable housing is still an issue that we're working on. Eliminating blight is still an issue, and cleaning up the blight, particularly in our downtowns. Workforce development is still a significant issue. Beaver County is still, I think Fayette's the only one that has a higher unemployment rate than we have. They're at like 4%. We're at 3.9%. The national average is 3.7%. I think the state average, the local area is like 3.5%. That doesn't sound like much, but there's still some workforce development we need to do. Because there's a lot of job openings out there, and a lot of employers can't expand, can't run their business as much as they'd like to because they don't have the labor and the resources. Just like we were just talking about with the detention beds in those detention facilities. We had a meeting earlier last month with Jim Marshall and some folks. We don't have enough first responders. We don't have enough people going into paramedic work and being EMTs. We don't have enough drivers for our ambulances to increase response time. So it's really a shortage of employees and workforce development stuff that's probably as significant as anything that we're doing right now.
And revitalizing our river towns is very, very important.
Absolutely.
The infrastructure in most of those towns are 130, 140 years old.
The water line that's underneath the bricks in my yard are very quaint, but it's a reminder it's not new.
I can go back a little bit, and I'll tell you this story.
Okay.
I was a volunteer fireman. Well, this is my 53rd year, but the last 16 I was a life member. But when I was an active fireman, Phoenix Glass, if you remember, caught on fire. You weren't here. Caught on fire about late 80s, 1980s. And I was on a pumper. And I jumped off the pumper, grabbed the line, hooked it up to the fire hydrant. The engineer turned the pump up, and we pulled the water line out of the ground.
Oh.
It was a hollow wooden log water line from the 1800s.
Yeah, that's not going to help you right in the middle of it, is it? Where did all those people go, Tony? The people that used to have the jobs that Jack was running down we need now? Where did all those people go?
Take the fire service for an example. When I was a fireman, being a volunteer fireman was a lifestyle. Everything we did emanated around that fire company.
That was your thing.
Yeah, we did our parties. But we worked one job. and it was enough to keep us going. Where today, you got to work 2 jobs, your wife's working, you don't have any time for that socialization, which brings people together, especially in the fire service. Like I said, we had all our parties, all of our events, was the center of it was the fire service. And that went county-wide. The fire departments would get together, we'd have events, we'd have water battles. We were active participants in it. Today, just making a living, it takes up all these young people's time. Like I said, your wife's working, your husband's working 2 jobs, and just to survive, just to break even.
Jack?
Well, some of it's just the overall population decline, right? So
we didn't lose those jobs. We lost those people.
We lost the people that would be filling those
right.
jobs, right? So, and I was just on a conference call, just talking about the global population loss, and then the population loss in the U.S., then Pennsylvania, and then how it translates. We've had a lot of conversations about this at the Beaver County level. I mean, women across the U.S. are having 1.2 children on average.
Statistically,
not the point
sure.
But the point is, we're having less than 2 kids per family right now, where I think just a couple of decades ago, that was 5. Average per
3, 4,
family.
5. Yeah.
We're not repopulating at the rate that the older population is dying off. It's just simple mathematics. And in Beaver County, we've seen that impact with some of our population decline. So, and we're all in competition for the same young families that are here. So how do you attract, how do you retain the young families that we do have, and how do you entice and incentivize them to go into some of these critical jobs? We've always seen these cyclical hiring things. There was a teacher shortage, and everybody goes into teaching. The next thing you know, for every 10 teaching graduates, they're competing for 3 jobs. So everybody stops going into teacher and they go into something else. We saw that in the decline with the trades. Everybody's saying,
medical.
My God, you're going to get a 4-year degree in something, even if you can't earn a living with it. You're not going to have to suffer the fate of working in the bills and being a welder or a pipe fitter,
you won't have to do anything with your hands.
Yeah. So now we're starting to see a resurgence of that, and so you're always going to see these cycles as people kind of chase the market of where the best career path is. And right now, particularly in healthcare, we've got a shortage.
Sure.
And put simply, when the death rate's higher than the birth rate, this is going to occur.
Is it plausible to take what you just said, Tony, and justify consolidation of services?
We're always trying to consolidate services.
How much backlash comes when you use that word? Because you're consolidating.
You'll get a lot of backlash.
Yeah.
And I was at the end of the Center Area School District, right before the merger talks were starting. And it was bad at first. It was really bad.
They just weren't having it?
No. Well, you had 2 diverse communities who were related to each other that didn't want to give up their autonomy. Beaver County football.
Just football.
And what made that successful, believe it or not, even forget about kids sharing services, kids being able to go from one school to another school to study geometry or trigonometry. It was the championship football team that made it work.
That was a critical factor. But I mean, there's a couple of things. I talk a lot about collaboration, and to me, you can get a lot more done if you're collaborating and leveraging the resources you have. The word that the schools don't want to hear is merger. Because mergers are difficult. That one worked, and it's the only voluntary merger in the history of the state of Pennsylvania. and it worked, but it was a huge lift, but it worked. But, when you take differing school districts and different levels of debt, and you couple that with a property tax being the way you fund schools, it's hard to talk mergers with any sense. But there are other consolidations and collaborations that could be taking place that could leverage the resources, provide the right career paths, and leverages with fire departments, police departments. We're starting to see that. Really pleased and proud of what Beaver Valley Regional Police have done. I think that was a smart move. And And I think there's other opportunities out there.
Which we helped.
Yeah.
We helped in the consolidations.
Coming up on 10 minutes before 10 o'clock, let's take this call. It's been blinking. Hi, what's your name? What is your question for the commissioners?
Good morning. Good morning, Eddie. This is Deborah.
Hi.
And good morning, you guys. How are
Good
you all
morning,
doing?
Deborah. Good morning.
Been a while. I wasn't listening to the first half of the show, so please forgive me if I ask this particular question that maybe already was asked. Tony, who was the county commissioners when you guys sold Friendship Ridge?
I was there. Joe Spanik was there, and I think
Is it Charlie?
no, Dennis. I think Dennis.
Oh,
was
Dennis.
there.
Dennis, yeah.
Nichols was there.
Okay. Because we were talking about that on the earlier, I was talking about that with Mike Romai, and we were talking about that, and we couldn't remember who the county commissioners were.
So your question was a historical trivia question.
Yeah, because
it's all
that
right.
just was racking my mind.
All right. Well, Deborah, as long as we could get your mind unracked with Tony answering the question, we're glad to do it.
It was good to hear your voice.
Hi, what is your name and what is your question for the commissioners?
You talking to me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. This is Victor. I was just wondering if they had any pool and what the roads can get fixed in Beaver County.
We have 5 roads.
Thank you, Victor.
That the county owns. We have 62 bridges and 5 roads. That's our responsibility. All the other roads.
The bridges are important because if can't use the roads.
The other roads are either owned by the municipalities or by the state.
Yeah, PennDOT or municipal roads, we have 20 some miles, I think, of total roads that we're responsible for. But I hear what you're saying, Victor, because I know we've done some survey work with our comp plans and stuff. The most important, the highest rated concern that people have from an infrastructure standpoint are the roads.
Well,
and the paving and
tears up your car.
Yeah. No, I don't like driving around over potholes on my way to get here, but we keep the roads in halfway decent. Even through Brady's Run Park, that's PennDOT roads. It's not ours. Pull out of my driveway, I'm on a PennDOT road. I hate chipping tar, and they keep chipping in tar, and all that gravel and loose stone ends up in my driveway instead of staying on the road. But they do that because municipalities can't afford necessarily do it. And when they do it, I just had this conversation with our DPW guy, Dan Colville. Too many municipalities try patching stuff instead of the expense of actually milling and repaving so that you get longer lasting
fixing it right.
Yeah, but it's difficult because it really comes down to local municipal budgets and the state budgets, and here we are.
And
so
here we
still
are.
have a lot of roads that are damaged by landslides that the state doesn't have money to repair.
Right.
And when people see a small road cave in, like the road that goes through Brady's Run, they think it's our road. Yeah. And when that roadblock is set up or that
anchor
lane,
town,
I mean it's. But people don't understand what counties do and what counties have no responsibility doing.
Well, that's why you guys come and explain it.
And another thing that was frustrating was we did have all that ARPA money, the American Rescue Plan Act money, and unfortunately, paving wasn't an allowable expense by the U.S. Treasury, because I'm sure that most of the towns that we ended up giving a proportionate share based on their population to would have loved to have used it for paving, but unfortunately that wasn't
on the list.
Nope, and we weren't able to use it as well.
Jack Manning and Tony Amadio, my guest, asked the commissioners, what should I have asked you that I didn't ask you? Anything should have been brought up? I got all Taylor Swift talk, and I drifted for a moment.
No, well, I'm a Taylor Swift fan.
You a Swiftie?
Well, I have a 16-year-old granddaughter. What do you think?
Swiftie by association. Yeah.
What do you think?
Swiftie by blood.
So yeah, they went and saw her when she was here in Pittsburgh and stuff.
Okay.
The Taylor Swift of today is like the Beatles were for Jack and I
absolutely.
50 years ago.
I was just talking to somebody about that.
Yep.
You just really can't imagine how berserk the country went in 1964 or whatever, 63 or 64 when they showed up on the Ed Sullivan Show.
I was
and
9 years old. I watched it. I was 9 years old.
Yeah.
I watched that show. And my dad was so proud of me. I was playing an accordion back then. That's the day.
Was that required for everyone back then?
That's the day that my accordion died.
Oh, it became okay to move on from
to guitar.
God bless the Beatles for you.
God bless them.
And for your neighbors.
Yes.
It's Ask the Commissioners. I can't top a Tony accordion story, so we're just going to stop now. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
When accidents and injuries happen, you need the experience and insight of the legal team at